Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Happy Boxing Day. Happy Boxing Day. Welcome to the Friday afternoon episode of Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. Welcome. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas day. Hope you are enjoying a pleasant Boxing Day. Welcome, one and all. Welcome. Another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. It is a privilege to be in the land of the living, and we should never ever take that for granted. And while we're into the Christmas season, Christmas come and gone, but it's about the season and the spirit of the season. And I as we would say, remember the reason for the season, right? It's not just about fetting and doing all those type of things. It's about the birth of the Christ child, and so therefore we must reflect on that, and we must be good to each other. So welcome. It's good to see so many of you in the classroom this afternoon. I know Boxing Day, as we said a few days ago when we last held the program on Monday. This is the day when people go around. You drop in at places, That is a tradition in the area that I grew up. Boxing Day, you go from place to place, house to house, take a drink and move on. I remember I told you all, when you go, it's not to go and drop anchor. It's to pass in, take a sip of something, take a little gaff, eat a piece of something, and keep moving on. You can't go and drop anchor the people place, right? And as I indicated, where I grew up, you don't invite people by you on Boxing Day. Boxing Day is open house. So therefore, people just come, take a drink, and then move on. Of course, you want to have a relationship during the course of the year. You can't wait. You're talking to your neighbor, and then because you smell something nice, you're dropping in on Boxing Day, and then you drop in anchor. So enjoy the day, enjoy the season. And for those people in Guyana, a long weekend. Yesterday, Christmas Day is Thursday. Today, Boxing Day, public holiday. Tomorrow, Saturday. Then the next day, Sunday. So you get 4 days. Some people it's 5. Because some people view Christmas Eve Day as a holiday too. And if you are in the U.S. and you're a federal employee, oh man, you get it nice because the president announced that Christmas Eve Day and today, Boxing Day, are holidays for the federal employees. So they had Christmas Eve Day. I guess Christmas Day, because federal employee, today, Boxing Day. I know they're working tomorrow. And then Sunday, man, they get it good, man. They get it real good. So how did you spend your Christmas Day? Yeah, reflect and let us know. We're gonna be with you. We're gonna acknowledge those who came in early. Then we're gonna make the announcements. My colleague CC is already in the studio. Let me say this. Up to about 15 minutes ago, we had problems getting on. I had some pressing issues to deal with. Luckily, God is good. He wants this program to continue. So at the last moment, I got you. And when I got onto the platform, then the lights weren't working. The lights weren't working. And just about a couple of minutes ago, the lights started to work again. So God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. So here we are again this afternoon, as I've said, Friday, the 26th day of December in the year of our Lord 2025. We call it Boxing Day, a day after Christmas, and it is celebrated as a public holiday in several places, including Guyana. As we say, we have a lot to tell you. We have a lot to tell you this afternoon. And, given the spirit of the season, we didn't want to deal with things that are too heavy, but there are certain developments, there are certain issues that we believe they're important enough for us to come, for us to bring them to your attention, for us to analyze. And the fact that you're here in your numbers indicate that you want that to happen. So yeah, we are going to bring it to you. As I've said, we are going to, first of all, as I should have indicated, gates open at 2, and immediately people started to rush in. And that is why I like, the early students. I love all the students, but the early ones who come and line up at the gate waiting to get in, the efforts are appreciated, right? And that is why that motivates us to come and to bring you this credible, valuable information. Even at Christmas time, things are happening. Even on Boxing Day, things are happening that you need to know. So share the live, and let them know. Because a lot of people busy at this time, a lot of people busy, and some might decide, well, I can skip class today, and at least a live class, and I'm going to catch up back later on, or some over the weekend. I'm going to look on YouTube or on Facebook and catch up with what is going on. But as we have said repeatedly, nothing like getting it live and direct. We're getting it live and direct. So that is why I guess many of you are here this afternoon. So here we go with the announcements. Let me tell you the roll call first. Roll call. First body in this afternoon was who? Sean came in early at 2 o'clock. Then Ricky Smith. Then we had Kenneth DeFlarmont from Maryland came in. Then who? Then Grantley, Ulrich, Jacko. Then it was Patricia. And this is Patricia Graves-Andy. Emerson, Clay, Ivar is here very early. Evelyn, Kenneth from Maryland. Then it was Emerson. Then Umu. Then Patricia, Courtney, Brian, Barbara, and the list goes on and on and on. Princess Earl is here. Orly, Arl is here. Aubrey, Jakey is here. Diane. And then when the Donna is here as well. And then when the doors were open, I think I saw the first person in, not the usual first person, the first person in this afternoon. Let me hold on. The thing disappeared from me. Let me pull it up back here. Yolanda is here as the #1 student in the class. Welcome. And then we had Denise, the secretary. Rhonda, the Ramstel, she's a chipper. Carlton Popo is here with us, and the list goes on and on. Lennox is here as well. Pam, West Deverara, she's here, and the list goes on. The list goes on. So now for the announcements, the sad ones first, and then we're going to give you the more pleasant announcements, and we're going to go into the meat of the thing. Now, the first announcement, as we would do, let me tell you, in terms of Sergeant Vaughan, the death of Sergeant Vaughan, 651. 651 days ago, Sergeant Alex Vaughan was shot and killed. Police Sergeant Alex Vaughan shot and killed. And the squatter, over the weekend or over the holiday period, over the week or so, they have these functions. And to hear them talk about transparency and professionalism and all this other thing, I was hoping that some unseen hand can come and when you use the word professional, clap you behind here. Say, don't use the word. You don't know the meaning of the word. Right? Don't use the word. You don't know the meaning. So John Vaughan, 651 days ago, and that's it. Now, we announced some time ago the death of my squad mate, Claudette Gibbs, W331. I think she died on the 2nd of December. Information is, we did tell you she would be buried on the 27th, but it's in Florida. Funeral service, Bell's Funeral Home, 8390 Pine Boulevard, Pembroke Pines, Florida. That's tomorrow. She's going to be, the services tomorrow, right? And then we told you too about our Tessa Smith, retired chief inspector. Tessa's funeral will be on the 29th, that is Monday. And tomorrow night, they have a wake at her home. Our body will leave Sandy's funeral home. She's going to be at Sandy's funeral home for service at the Central Assemblies of God Church at East Street. That is on Monday. So let me put information for those people. Then we told you too about we have a next announcement here. Terrence Ralph is going to be buried on the 30th. We're going to get enough time. We can come back. Retired Superintendent Terrence Ralph, Fort Wellington Church on the 30th. Then we have the death, another death of another squad mate. The squad, we got to look out, squad mates. 9384 Wyatt Oliver Burgess. Funeral service will be on the 30th, 4 p.m. at Caribe Funeral Home. That is at 19 22 Utica Avenue, Brooklyn. And then they say a repast will be directly opposite following the funeral service. That is on the 30th. So those are the announcements that we want to make. To say too, condolences to the relatives, friends of those deceased persons. And then Christmas Day yesterday, my 2 murders yesterday. We heard about one, a tuition with someone, and the reputed wife got into some altercation. She stabbed you and she killed you. Then the next one in Region 2, I think it was, a man died. Then we saw a very sad one where a child from Friendship drowned in Pomeroon. Reading the article, apparently the child, the grandmother or some relative picked up the child from East Bank, Friendship on the East Bank, took the child to spend the holidays in Pomeroon. And based on what they said, the grandfather, some relative, went to have a bath in the river one or so sometime in the morning, and the another adult went somewhere in the house, and then they missed the child. And then when they do check, child in the bottom of some trench or something. It's really sad, really sad. And then you have Pomeroon again, where they say some minor died following some accident in a creek. These are families who are going to be devastated during this time, devastated during this holiday season. So those are the sad announcements that we have to make. In terms of the more pleasant one, birthday greetings today is Deputy Superintendent Rockwell Delph, DSP Delph. I think he's on the East Coast. I'm not sure where he is now, but I think it's there is where he is. Also, former member Cinderlyn Isaacs, right? She is observing a natal day today. And then the warrior Carol Smith Joseph, the PNC stalwart. Carol is observing a natal day today. And a friend of mine, Shimron Etty Etty, the cricketer, today is his natal day as well. And in terms of those who had it recently, yesterday, Christmas Day, was the birth anniversary of Terrence Young, a very loyal student from Canada, 9795 Young. He's on this program every day. I'm sure he are now. 9795 Young had a birth anniversary yesterday, Christmas Day. He's a Christmas baby. Talking about that, I was looking at I read papers this morning, and I didn't see any indications how many children were born on Christmas Day. There's a tradition. They would normally list in the papers, the regular newspapers, the mainstream papers, the children that were born on Christmas Day, right? Christmas Day. So I didn't see that yet. I guess they're going to bring it tomorrow and so on. And then I was advised that there's a loyal student who had a birthday recently, and somehow we missed that. I'm talking about Joycelyn Roberts. Joycelyn had a birthday recently. Apologies for not announcing it before, but Joycelyn, enjoy. And then in terms of advanced birthday greetings, those who are going to be having their birthdays tomorrow and Sunday, we have former retired Deputy Commissioner Nigel Happy have a birthday. He has a birthday tomorrow, right? Happy. Well, let me say, we know Happy found himself in a very difficult situation, and it's unfortunate how the situation ended up. As we said, he was a deputy commissioner, the UC, for almost 2 years, and then Dumpy, and then the squatter, the acting up. They would never allowed Happy to act. Never, ever. How wicked these people are. Never allowed Happy to act as commissioner of police. As soon as he proceeded on pre-retirement leave, immediately they make him acting commissioner, acting. So I want y'all to think about those things. Let's remember, use and abuse and dash away, right? That is what goes on. Now, we have John Sayers, retired Superintendent John Sayers. 0711 was his regulation number. He is going to be observing a natal day tomorrow, I think, too. Also observing tomorrow is a loyal student. He's one of the former police to traffic rank, Ian Lucius. Ian is on. I'm sure he's going to be on. He is going to be celebrating his natal day tomorrow. Also celebrating tomorrow is a former member, a squad mate of mine, Ezzy Lucas, 9528. He's not only a squad mate or my countryman. He's from the same village, BV. So, back in the day, we growing up, Ezzy, but Leland is his correct name. He's going to be observing tomorrow. And I spoke about Carl Smith celebrating today, and I referred to her, I described her as a PNC stalwart. Another PNC stalwart, Lorleen Nestor, is going to be celebrating a birthday shortly too. Lorleen, BV woman too, because she own and relative, she's going to be observing shortly. And then we have the birth anniversary too coming up of Woman Inspector Natoya Benjamin. Benji is celebrating a birth anniversary soon. Also, too, is Detective, I think she's Detective Sergeant Sutton, the teacher Sutton. She's going to be celebrating the 28th. Bonita Fraser, another student she's celebrating shortly. And I left the best to last. My sister, Denise, is going to be celebrating hers on the 28th as well. And incidentally, as we're giving out greetings and so on the 28th is that day when I said, I do. That is a day, and I got to, today is Friday, so that's going to be the 28th. So let me give early advance anniversary greetings to my beautiful and dedicated and loyal wife. So those are the greetings. I have a few more, but let me bring in CC to deal with those, and then we're gonna move on. CC, welcome up. You had a wonderful Christmas. You had a wonderful Christmas.
Well, happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. I had a wonderful Christmas, very quiet and peaceful. From the Monday when I tasted my wife pepper pot and then I put a big lash on it, I ate all the things up to yesterday, rapaciously. And then I'm back to normal. Because normally I eat like a king, a prince.
I see Mr. Conway jump out of the studio. I suspect was the blackout. I suspect it might be blackout. So let me give him a chance to get back in. Yes, let me tell you about Christmas Day before I go to the other announcements. Christmas Day, wonderful day. Got up, do your thing. Those of us who like to face the kitchen, I face the kitchen, cook some food. The wife was there with me, and then we had Christmas dinner more or less, not lunch, Christmas dinner. Well, you start off the morning with your pepper pot and garlic pork and all of that. I see Cece's getting back into the studio. Let me see. Cece, I see you got thrown out of the studio just now. Continue.
So I ate rapaciously from Monday coming back to up to yesterday. And now I'm eating like I normally do, like a king, a prince, and a papa. Very good in the morning, cut down at midday, and night little or nothing. That's the training I had with the FBA, and I have since maintained it. Now, I wish to express my deepest sympathy to the relatives, the friends of those persons who passed away, and birthday greetings. Yeah, Bonita Fraser, my countrywoman from West Coast Borbies. I know she's gonna get a big splash on Sunday. Especially I think she has a daughter who get a funny, unusual surname. I'm sure she's gonna look after her. And I'm sure big people are gonna look after Bonita too. John Sayers, I think John Sayers is Sunday. John, happy birthday greetings in advance. I hope I'm able to catch you and break your hand and get a couple of shots from you. I think Happy was on Saturday. And yes, I must endorse Joycelyn Roberts that we missed out. She was on the 15th of December. And she said she's 60 and 5. 60 and 5, and we missed out the 60 and 5. And today I was on my veranda when the vehicle stopped, and a very colorful retired superintendent came out. He was cutely dressed, talking about too cute. Roland Allen. He came and we had a nice talk, and at the end of it, he left a little contribution for the program. So thank you very much, Roland, for your contribution. And all those persons who celebrated their birthday, who want to celebrate birthdays, I want to wish you all the best and many more birthdays to come.
Yeah, too cute, man. You're the more too cute doing retired senior superintendent, right? Senior superintendent. As I was saying during the little break there with CC, yesterday, nice day, Christmas breakfast, pepper pot, garlic pork and thing. Oh man. And then later in the day, the works, man, the works. And then last night I relaxed. Well, I started to look at the cricket, India, what's I saying? Australia and England, the Ashes. Man, what a day, right? What a day. Australia insulted by England, all out for 152. And then the Barmy Army celebrating, man, everything nice. You see them cock a whoop, making nice and so on. Then they all out for 110. So the first innings of a 5-day test match was completed in the first day. And then the Australian had to bat 1 over at the end. And for those of you who are asking, I think it was Michael Atherton today who said it has happened before in cricket where the first innings of a match was completed. I'm sure he said test match, but he gave the impression test match completed on the first day. Both teams out on the first day. So we in with some good cricket over the next however long it can last. Because if the first innings finish on the first day, with 4 more days scheduled to be played, one can see this and go into the end unless there's weather interruption. So I ain't missing out. So that was yesterday afternoon from 6:30. I watched. Then also yesterday, I watched my favorite comedian last night. That was part of the thing. So between the cricket and the show, I looked at my favorite comedian, Dave Chappelle. He has a Netflix comedy there, Unstoppable Nigga. Unstoppable. Fantastic program, man. It is worth the while to spend some time and look at Dave Chappelle. So other people, when you see them, Dave Chappelle is one of those persons, right? Once I see Dave Chappelle, I don't miss it, I don't miss it. It's the brilliance of the man, the brilliance. And I would encourage any one of you, you have Netflix, or if you have access to the thing, Unstoppable Nigga is the thing. And the man gives some fantastic history. This man is a comedian, but you're going to see the research that went into it when he told you about the first boxer to win the title. I think it was Jack Johnson. Beautiful. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Those of you who, whether you're a sports fan, whether you like comedy, but when you look at the history of that thing, the man break it down to show you why we are in the nonsense that we're in today. Beautiful. So so that was my thing last night. And this morning, of course, Friday. I love Fridays, especially with this program, because Friday gives you the opportunity. You get all day to browse and to make sure you put together a good program. And today, I've been able to do that. Now, for those of you who live in New York, and I think they said it tri-state, they say a big snowstorm coming in tonight. Big snowstorm. What I said, some people say 4 to 8 inches of snow will fall. So I hope that you get all that you have to get to the Uncle Dung to make sure, right? Make sure that you have to run out tomorrow and all this type of thing. Yeah, Winston, I'm glad Winston is saying that one of his best performances. Love him. Yeah, Winston. I concur. One of his best performances, not only the comedic part of it, but the historical part of it as well. Right? Beautiful. Unstoppable Nigga. Y'all don't miss it. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. So this snowstorm is coming in for my brothers and sisters in New York. I know many of you on this program are in New York. And well, it's not only New York, they said it tri-state. New York, New Jersey, I think Connecticut. Make sure that you have what you have to have. Because I said from 6 o'clock this afternoon, and it looks like for the next couple of days, right? Next couple of days, right? Somebody else is saying here that Dave Chappelle new Netflix show is awesome. Yes, I saw it last night. I saw it last night, right? Did I say YouTube? Netflix. If I said YouTube, I misspoke. It's on Netflix. Netflix, right? Um, and don't let us forget too, this is something. Today is the first day of Kwanzaa. The first day of Kwanzaa is today, right? You want to know what is Kwanzaa. So I have to know, we don't just come and we talk these things, I did a little research to say, what is Kwanzaa? Because you always hear the name, but you're not sure. And, I'm sorry that I didn't remember this on the last day, because today, Boxing Day, the AGDA, the African Development Association of Guyana, had an activity there at the opposite the national park. I think it finished at 4 o'clock. But had I remembered, I would have announced it. But they said Kwanzaa was established in 1966 by Dr. Mulana Karenga, a professor and figure in the Black freedom movement, with the goal of affirming African-American cultural heritage. They say it is a cultural, non-religious observance held from December the 26th to January the 1st December 26th this year to January the 1st next year. They said the holiday was founded following the 1965 Watts riot in Los Angeles, which highlighted racial inequality. Karenga intended to unite African Americans and foster cultural identity by offering an alternative holiday. The name Kwanzaa originates from the Swahili words Mutanda Yakwanza, meaning forest fruits. It is inspired by African harvest tradition, incorporating activities such as in gathering, reverence, commemoration, recommitment, and celebrations. And they say the core principles of Kwanzaa centered around, and they get the Swahili word first, and we say Nguzo Saba, or 7 principles aimed at building community among African Americans. Those principles, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, those principles are today the first, Umoja, Umoja, I hope I pronounced that right, Umoja, which means unity. The second one, I got to take my time to call this one, it's Kuga Chaliga. The second one is self-determination. And the third is Ujima, Ujima, collective work and responsibility. The other one is Ujama, cooperative economics. The next is NIA, NIA, which is purpose. The next is Kumba, Kuumba, which is creativity. And the last is Imani, Imani, which means faith, right? There's millions of people of African descent globally celebrate Kwanzaa, and it is viewed as a cultural celebration open to those who embrace its principles. And the principles, again, unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. Those are the seven principles of Kwanzaa. And I said Kwanzaa starts today, 7 days, ends on the 1st of January 2026. You got to know these things, You know about Christmas, and I can't was crazy, or someone on this thing crazy, or Baron, that Christmas is a pagan holiday. The Parang said Christmas is a pagan holiday, but the Kwanzaa is a Black African holiday. They say African American, and it is spread to African communities throughout the world. So we must make sure that we know these things. We must make sure we know something about our culture, right? We must make sure. So today is the first day of Kwanzaa. Somebody saying it's already started to snow in New Jersey. Well, New Jersey has always get it first and the toughest, yeah. So we have that, and I'm sure CC would want to say something about that. So let me bring him in. This Storm Kwanzaa cricket. CC is a cricket man, so I'm sure he's gonna want to say something about it. CC, let me get your take.
Let me talk a bit about the cricket. Australia had to bat a second time, and they had to face one over. And they made a very strategic decision because apparently like they didn't want to lose an opening batsman for the force over. So they bring Bolan, a man, a tail ender, and put him to face those six balls there. And it was very scary, very edgy and that kind of thing, but he survived. But the thing is that they didn't want to lose a opening batsman for that force over. So they bring a tail ender. I don't know what Indies would have done. They bring a tail ender and say, well, if the tail ender out, he out. But the opening batsman will come fresh on day two. Yes, we must remember our culture. We must remember our history and work accordingly. So we must all celebrate.
Yeah, and you made an interesting point about the cricket. Not only they opened with Bolam, the tail ender, but the rules of the game. Remember, if they well, not only that, they put him to face the six deliveries because it's only one over they have to face. So they put Bolam to face the six deliveries. And if I remember the rules correctly, if Bolan had gotten out in that over, that would have been the close of play. So they knew one way or the other. You would have lost a tail ender, but then the other opener would not have been coming out there yesterday. So it's a thinking game. It's a thinking game. You need people to think, right? You need people to think. So let's, us cricket fans, look to see what is going to happen tonight. Now we got a matter. You say my memory that's compliment me. Even the students compliment me for my memory. Something we don't forget. And tomorrow, the 27th of December, would be 2 years. 2 years since that trumped up, or not that, it's not one more. Those trumped up charges were dismissed. You know what I'm talking about? On the 19th of May, 2021, Conway, myself, Whitaker, Gilbert, George Fraser, Andrews Jr., Marceline Washington, Sutton, and a whole set of people, they charge us with conspiracy to commit fraud. And then they tack on some others on the serving members of the force, misconduct in public office. And then they tack on three on me to say sexual assault and so on. Those charges were filed on the 19th of May, 2021. And on the 27th of December, 2023, the magistrate upheld a no case submission. And let me read a little bit for y'all. And let me say this. People have been encouraging me to document these things, to write. And I will do so. I promise to document these things. I'm hoping maybe that will be one of my resolutions for next year, at least to start to document. I got a lot of documents. I need to just assemble them or put them in some order and document, because why you want to document these things? They have these propagandists. You have these sycophants who want to rewrite history. So a couple of years down, if you haven't put it in some form and have it there as a record, they're going to come and they're going to twist everything. They're going to twist everything. They're going to twist everything. So what happened? They as I said, here was the offense. Offense. The conspiracy to defraud contrary to common law. That's what I said. Conspiracy to defraud contrary to common law. And here, what the particulars were. They said between Friday the 1st of March 2019 and Tuesday the 7th of July 2020, at the Guyana Police Force Headquarters, Evelary, Kingston, Georgetown, in the Georgetown Municipal District in the County of Demerara, in the state of Guyana, conspired together and with other persons unknown to defraud the Guyana Police Force of $10,056,000 Guyana currency by paying Paul Slow, Clinton Conway, Claude Whitaker, George Fraser, and Mark Gilbert the said $10,056,000 without complying with the proper procedures, purportedly to do a review of the standing orders, which had already commenced in July 2018 and concluded March 2019 by the Strategic Planning Unit of the Guyana Police Force. Those are the particulars of the charge. And then the magistrate ruled. Let me read to y'all what the magistrate said. And this is in part of the ruling that the magistrate made. Right? The magistrate said, and as I said, this is part of the ruling delivered on the 27th of December 2023. What is shocking is that the prosecution's case did not establish what were the proper procedures that had to be followed in the review of the Guyana Police Force standing orders. And even if those procedures were not complied with, does it amount to conspiracy to defraud? Absolutely not. The offense of conspiracy to defraud requires proof of an agreement between the defendants to defraud the Guyana Police Force. The prosecution was required to prove that the defendants had a common design, and that was to rob the Guyana Police Force of $10,056,000. The prosecution had to prove that the defendant had the intention to commit an ulterior crime. Where is the conspiracy? Where is the common design? Where is the evidence that the defendants came together to commit the? Hold on, I gotta. Where is the evidence? Where is the evidence that the defendants came together to commit this common design? The evidence in the prosecution's case is miserably lacking in proving the essential elements of conspiracy. There is no iota of evidence establishing conspiracy, or the very least, pointing this court to some agreement between the defendants to defraud the Guyana Police Force of $10,056,000. Accordingly, the evidence in the prosecution's case begs the question, on what basis were the defendants charged for conspiracy to defraud? And the answer to this question came from the main investigator, Superintendent Romana, and that is that the defendants were paid $10,056,000 to do a complete revision of the Guyana Police Force standing order, and they failed to do so. Failure to complete something that you were contracted to do certainly does not amount to conspiracy to defraud. Even in this case, the evidence from the prosecution's own witness was that the review process was ongoing. One of the review exercises, there's a little mistake, it was ongoing. One of the review exercises that was done by the 5 defendants was suspended because of the Guyana national elections and the aftermath that followed thereafter. There is no evidence that the defendants deliberately failed to complete the review process. The evidence for the prosecutor's case does not establish the elements for the offense of conspiracy to defraud. How could reasonable-minded people conclude that failure to comply with proper procedures or failure to complete a task amongst the conspiracy to defraud? No criminal offense was established in the evidence of the prosecution's case, even the serious offense of conspiracy to defraud. In conclusion, the offense of conspiracy to defraud and misconduct in public office are serious offenses in which the prosecution had a duty and was required to prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt. The evidence and the manner in which the prosecution was presented leaves much to be desired by this court. Crucial pieces of evidence in the prosecution's case, let me read that back. Crucial pieces of evidence in the possession of the Special Organized Crime Unit that the prosecution was required to disclose was not disclosed. And this evidence could have operated in favor of the defendants in establishing the very arrangement that they had with the Guyana Police Force for the review of the standing order. The absence of these exhibits certainly has raised judicial eyebrows. More so, the case for the prosecution was so below par that even with the presence of the vouchers and the contents of the computer system that the prosecution was desperately trying to have disclosed after the commencement of the trial would not have advanced the case further. The prosecution's case was below standard, and the prosecution failed on every limb in proving the elements of the offense of conspiracy to defraud and misconduct in public office. As such, the court therefore has no other obligation but to rule that the no case submission is upheld and the matter against the defendants are dismissed for insufficient evidence. Gotta remind you all about these things, you know. Gotta remind. And you look at the timeline as we have said before. Yeah, indulge me. Look at the timeline. It was when the president and the government were trying to get rid of me and Conway of the Police Service Commission. Why? Because we didn't kowtow in, we didn't acquiesce into them and the promotions that they want. People who were unqualified, they wanted promoted. And this, the commission that I changed said, nah, 10 working so trumped up charge and everybody man skating in the remarks. I know what? To bringing CC, there's a sad part of this. 2 years have passed since these matters, because as I've said, it's conspiracy to commit fraud and misconduct in public office against the officers who were serving at the time, including Assistant Commissioner Royston Andrews Jr. And up to now, some of those people are not reinstated. Up to now. And Andrews Jr. is the most senior, even when they make the promotions last year, December. Remember, the president made promotion, promote deputy commissioner. Junior was the most senior of those persons. But I guess they didn't find favor with him. Not only senior in terms of rank, you know, when you come to qualification, he's more qualified than any one of the assistant commissioners that they have there now. More qualified. But I guess his ear has the wrong texture. And it is so sad and so unfair. And, you know, I said, and CC I said too, there are collateral damages me and CC don't want it to get. But they're roping everybody. And at a later date, this is not the right time because some of these matters are still before the court. At the right time, I'm going to tell you all, because others did exactly what those persons were accused of doing in terms of misconduct in public office. Exactly the same thing, and nothing can happen to them. The same thing they did, and nothing can happen. We can deal with that at another time. There's a time longer than twine. I was on my knee and I'm praying for them. Go on my knees, both knees, and pray for them. Hold on, let me bring you CC. CC, I have to update on 2 years, right? 2 years. You got something in the background, CC. Something. You get something there in the background. Get some background noise here. Yeah, right. So I'm saying after 2 years, I keep these records to make sure that you can remind people, because people tend to have a short memory. You have to remind them of the wicked and vindictiveness of this administration and that. Go ahead, my brother. Let me hear what you got to say.
Yeah, she's so shocking, you know. And here's the magistrate made a written decision. Some magistrate made a decision, and years now they didn't get anything right. Even judges and all. Here's it. We were charged conspiracy to defraud. 26 persons testify. I can't say they gave evidence because they ain't give no evidence. 26 persons from the Police Finance Office, Commissioner Confidential Registry, Ministry of Affairs, Ministry of Finance, the Quartermaster Stores, and elsewhere, even Brutus and all testify. And not an iota of evidence. I remember they saying that we $10 million we conspire to defraud the government, and there wasn't no evidence to show any one of us receive $1. Nothing to show that any one of us receive $1. And then they talk about we fell into proper procedure. What are proper procedure? That wasn't stated. In law, you gotta be specific, you know. So and the thing is that we didn't ask to do the work. The commissioner called us at a meeting where he had the executive leadership team and said he wanted us to review the police standing order. We had no time limit to review the police standing order, and we agreed to do it. We didn't charge a cent. They provided office for us, and we work along. They provide equipment and all kind of thing there. And after a while, the commissioner James come and say, "Hey, y'all can't work free. I'm gonna pay you all a stipend." they prepare the accounts. They prepare the accounts and they paid us for the work that we did. And lo and behold, here we conspired to defraud. Huh? Not a iota of evidence, nothing whatsoever, as the magistrate said, and that is how we found ourselves. Now 2 years gone, and the poor assistant commissioner cannot be reinstated, The whole thing was political. Give them a charge them for conspiracy to defraud, and then move to the police, move to the president, approach the president for us to be taken off or for us to be suspended from the Police Service Commission. But it backfired spectacularly. Nothing, no evidence whatsoever. Not an iota of evidence was produced to convict any one of us.
Yeah, and we gotta keep reminding people, we gotta keep reminding. We gotta keep reminding people about these things, because 2 years. Look, Adriana Young was killed this year, and people don't tend to forget. People don't tend to forget, right? People don't tend to forget. So we are going to keep reminding you of these events to show you how wicked, stink, and dirty these people are. Not no past tense, because they come back. Nasty, stink, and dirty, right? That is what you have for a government. And I got to pull up the statement by GHK Lal. I haven't repeated it for some time, because the same thing says you don't have a government, you have a gang of gangsters. That is what you have. Gang of gangsters, right? So 27th, tomorrow of December, is when the magistrate handed down that ruling. And let me tell you all of some of the things during the course, The case started, and at CC said they bring 20-something people for come and say they're giving evidence, right? And then they started to make up things as they went along. When questions are asked now, they attempted to bring, they had years, to disclose evidence. Then disclose all the evidence. At least they claim they had evidence. They didn't bring no evidence. No voucher, no computer, nothing at all to prove the case. When these questions were asked now on the cross-examination, they then try to have those things introduced in the court. And the magistrate said she's not allowing that, not allowing any further disclosure. You had years to make the disclosure, you did not. And now, because these matters are raised by the defense counsel, you're trying to get it in. You know what they did? So cool. Jeffers, I don't know if he's still in the force, he was the prosecutor. Well, he was one of the prosecutors, because the other prosecutors with an attorney, Mohabir, I think is his name, he is now a magistrate. Mohabir, the same magistrate at West Berbice some time ago, had a run-in with the lawyers where they say he brandished gun. He's alleged to same man. He was he was employed, a lawyer with Soku, and they were the ones who prosecuted this case. And when they couldn't get the magistrate to accept them late disclosure, they sued the magistrate. They went to the High Court and filed a statement of claim against the magistrate. I kid you not. So I say all of these things I have to get and put it in writing, put it in the form of a book form so that people can read. They sued Soku, sued the magistrate, because the magistrate ruled that she was not going to allow any further disclosure so far into the matter. When the statement, when the trial had started and people had already given evidence, she said, no, you can't come and say you're bringing disclosure this time, years after you institute the charge. Yeah, so all of those things went on. All of those things. They do all sort of things. And the statement of claim is only one action that they brought against the magistrate, because there was a previous action. I got to look for the details of that. Right? I ain't gonna forget. And as I've said before, some of them I will never ever forgive. Right? They say if you're a Christian, you must forget and you must forgive. Well, I am not that type of Christian. I ain't forgetting some of them. I ain't forgiving them neither. And I pray to the good Lord to keep me healthy and strong, to live long, to see them bitches punished. Right? Because punish they will. Brutus was part of this thing. You see what I mean? 252 criminal charges. He was part of the whole conspiracy to get us charged and all that. He was a main chief cook and bottle washer, as them old people would say. But karma is a bitch. They got no deadline for karma, right? Am I bitter? No, I am bitter. When I make my presentations forcefully, but it's not that forcefully and aggressively. That's my nature. Those who know me know this is the way I speak, right? Forcefully and aggressively. So it's not out of bitterness, it's not out of vindictiveness, but I believe that the truth needs to be told. And that is why I will continue to tell the truth. And I challenge them again to dispute anything that I've said. Go for them Germans. You look like when I want to attack me on this program, they just go all the way to Germany and bring those people from the Volkswagen company. That's what it is, though. Bring them. Bring them. I have facts. And as Uncle Fraser would say, facts are stubborn things. Facts are stubborn things. So I am going to continue on this path to expose them and the corruption. And in the same process, we teaching, as we have said, as we said on Monday, part of the motivation for this speaking out is to teach, especially the younger policemen, a lot of senior ones too, because it is clear that they are not being taught some basic stuff at the kind of academy, whatever they call it. They don't understand these things. And talking about that, perhaps it's a good time for me to go straight into this next matter, right? Talking about police that understanding rules and all these type of things, understanding the law, right? What am I talking about? I saw some disturbing videos on social media yesterday, Christmas Day, with the Mohammeds, Azadin's sister. I think the guy there is her husband, to say what happened. Disturbing indeed. And it shows the extent to which this Guyana police force is being used by the current administration, right? The extent. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play 2 tapes, not very long. I'm going to play the tape that Azadin Mohammed's sister made, and then I'm going to play a next short one, and then CC and I will do the policing part, analyze this thing from a policing perspective. So here we go. In time, let me look to find the tape. Let me see where it is. I want to get them in the right order. This one is about 3 minutes long, so here we go.
Show the police. Get all the police.
I know. And now you have to hold it.
I need to take the children home, officer. Yes, good afternoon. I'm here on the East Bank Public Road on Christmas Day. I'm here with 2 of my children and one of our counselors and her child in the car. As you can see, it's raining. And we have been doing toy distribution since early this morning. As a matter of fact, we've been doing toy distributions the entire month. And the children are tired and hungry. And we just completed toy distributions in All Boys Song area. The police are harassing me on my way home. They pulled me over. They were instructed to pull me over. You can see that they were looking for me. From a distance I saw them. And they asked me to pull over. They didn't ask me for any documentation. They just told me to go to the Providence police station. So I told them that the children are tired, they're hungry, they're not feeling well, it's raining, and I need to get my children home, but they're insisting that I go to the Providence police station. So I want Guyanese and everyone to know, I want everyone Guyanese in the diaspora, people in the international community, everyone to see the level of victimization on the opposition by the governing PPP party. This is dictatorship. Today is Christmas Day. We have been doing charitable acts, distributing toys. We had a Christmas breakfast this morning in Parika, in Pepper City, Parika, early this morning, where we set up tables and Santa was there to distribute toys to the children.
Okay, I don't want to.
And there was breakfast, there was pepper pots of bread, and hundreds of residents enjoyed the Christmas breakfast that we prepared for them. Subsequently, we had several toy distributions in the Kindred and other neighboring communities, and then in All Boys Town, where we prepared Christmas lunch and had 2 toy distributions in All Boys Town. We were gonna do some more toy distributions, but then the rain came down. The children are tired and hungry, but the police is harassing me.
I got a little sermon. Mommy?
So after we started filming, they told us that we can take the children home, but I still need to go to the Providence police station. They haven't told me why. So this is the level of victimization with the BBB government. Imagine, this is Christmas Day, and this is what they're doing to members of the opposition. So I want Guyanese to see and understand what is happening, these creeping markers of dictatorship with the BBB government.
All right, so that is the first part. The allegation there is that she was driving and the police pulled her over. She claimed that they never asked her for any document or anything like that. And then she was told to go to the police station. So that is the main part of that tape. We're gonna deal with it. We're gonna break it down, and that is the main part. 1, she was pulled over. 2, no documents, no requests. They didn't tell her anything about drive to the Providence police station. Now here comes the second tape about the same link. Listen to it.
The GPF was ordered to go to my home. All the documents are in order.
Yeah, yeah, we're live here, being harassed by the police here. On Christmas Day. We're here home on Christmas Day being harassed by the police. Let me get my driver's license. Hold on. Look, one police car. They got an order from the president. Yeah, everything there. I got more police coming here now. Close that gate. All the police officers here. There's another one there. Come and harass this. Christmas Day, they get orders, right? Here comes the inspector here. Go ahead. There's a door. Yeah, everything in here. Sit back. I'll be back live shortly.
All right, so you saw that there. You see the number of policemen who went there. For what reason? I'm going to read the statement by the police. The statement as released by the police in respect to that Same incident there. Hear what it says. This is a statement from the police. On Thursday, December the 25th, 2025, at approximately 1500 hours, Inspector Mulchan Jagnandan and a team of police officers were conducting traffic enforcement on Eccles Public Road, East Bank, Demerara. During this operation, motor vehicle PAB 3000 was stopped with an identifiable female operating the vehicle. She was requested to present her driver's license and the vehicle documentation. While awaiting the production of these documents, Mr. Azudin Mohammed approached the vehicle, having arrived in a black car. He instructed the female driver to proceed home rather than go to the police station. The driver complied with these instructions and drove the vehicle to Republic Park, East Bank, Demerara, where it was parked. Inspector Jagnunan and his team followed the vehicle and attempted to immobilize it. At this point, a male identifying himself as Maskim Dmitriev of Borough Street, Eccles East Bank, presented documents indicating his ownership of the Toyota Land Cruiser PAB 3000. He was informed of the offenses committed and was invited to Providence Police Station. At the station, the driver was processed for the prohibition of tinted glass, illegal emergency light, among other traffic-related offenses. The female driver will be identified by notice and summoned for failure to comply with police directions, failure to produce a driver's license, and other relevant documents. The vehicle was subsequently impounded for engine and chassis verification by the licensing and certifying officer at the Guyana Revenue Authority. The owner was released on his own recognizance and is scheduled to report Monday, December 29, 2025 at 9 hours. That is the police release in relation to what we just saw there. That is the police release. Look, let me bring in CC. CC would have seen the videos just as you did. He would have seen this, or you would have listened to, or you would have heard the statement. I'm sure you would have read the statement too that was issued by the police. So let me bring in CC for him to have his say on this. And I'm coming back. CC, go ahead.
The thing is that the bottom line is that they're following orders and they're following political directives. If you're going to stop somebody, you have to get reasonable suspicion. And you know, I always like to read the law. And here it is, section 17 of the Police Act, chapter 16:01. It's saying, subsection 18, power to stop, sort, and detain any aircraft, vessel, vehicles, or persons in certain circumstances. Section 18. Any member of the force may stop, search, and detain any aircraft, vehicle, vessel, or vehicle in or upon which there shall be reason to suspect that anything stolen or unlawfully obtained, or that any person suspected of having committed any indictable offense may be found. And he may also stop, search and detain any person who may be reasonably suspected of having or conveying in any manner anything stolen or unlawfully obtained. The whole thing talk about reasonable suspicion. And if you're going to stop me, you must tell me what you stop me for. I must be told in simple language, in language that I understand, and in detail, where is the offense I allege to have committed. And it's written in the Constitution of Guyana. Let me read it there. Article 144 1D. It said the person shall be informed as soon as reasonably practical in a language that he or she understands and in detail of the nature of the offense charge. The thing is that when you stop somebody, you got to tell them of the offense. Don't tell me to drive to Providence police station. That is not lawful. I must drive to Providence police station. No way. And the thing is that the Constitution is the supreme law, and any law that goes against the Constitution or collides with the Constitution is dead. It's fatal. If you're going to draft law, the law must be in accordance with the Constitution. And if you breach it, it is unconstitutional. And as my commissioner used to say, you guys say, mea culpa, mea culpa. Here's it. Stop the person, tell him, drive to Providence police station. Drive for what? What offense did they commit? Tell us about the offense they commit. Following instruction and not telling people anything. Yeah? The whole thing is political. It has nothing to do with enforcing the traffic arrangements. That you must have reasonable suspicion, and I ain't here or see anything there in terms of reasonable suspicion. Nothing whatsoever. Drive to Providence police station. Let me see your documents and all kind of nonsense. It's all political, and it had to be that the instructions came from higher up. And as we said over and over in this program, that if the instruction is lawful, you are not bound to carry it out. As long as it is unlawful, as long as it is unlawful, you are not bound to carry it out. The Nuremberg trial, the war trial, which saying that even if the general gave the private soldier an order and it is not lawful, the soldier is not required to carry it out. Same thing here, that instructions from upstairs, pull in Mohammed vehicle, Mohammed wife, there's some weapon in his bank, go and pull them in and let it go to Providence police station. No way, you can't think. And then certain offenses are ticketable. Give me a ticket. Give me a ticket. Let me go to court and contest it. You don't have to tell me to go to Providence police station. No way. There are certain offenses that are ticketable. Write the ticket and give me if you feel that I committed any offense. And then the important thing is that if you're going to prevent me from moving, if you're going to arrest me, you must tell me what is the offense it is alleged that I have committed. And you must tell me in simple language and in detail what the particulars of the offense. It's written in the Constitution. And also to stop me in relation to the Police Act, you must have reasonable suspicion. And I didn't see anything there for reasonable suspicion. I didn't see anything there to tell me, to indicate that the action taken by those traffic people was in fact lawful.
Right. Let me say this, I see some comments about Azuddin and so on. This is not about Azuddin Mohammed, We all know that he was thick and thin. He was thick with the PVP, Bati and Po. So now they fall out. But this is about the rule of law. This is about the rule of law. I don't care who it is. I don't care. I am not a supporter of Azuddin Mohammed, right? But I support law and order and justice and equality and the Constitution, right? Now, here, let me analyze the police statement. They said they had this operation, and during the operation, this vehicle was stopped with an identifiable female operating the vehicle. She was requested to present her driver's license and vehicle documentation. She was the only document that she can be can be legally asked to produce is her driver's license. She's disputing that. She said they didn't ask nothing. She said they stopped the vehicle and they said the inspector of police drive to Providence police station. She claimed that they didn't say why. And then here they go on, here out there just hang themselves, you know. They say, while awaiting the production of these documents, so they asked this young lady, and it's Azadin's sister, you understand, they asked her to produce the documents to the vehicle. And they are saying, that is what the police really said. While awaiting the production of the document, Mr. Azadin Mohammed approached the vehicle, having arrived in a black car. So while they wait, obviously that to take some time. Obviously, unless he was following, so he come up. He instructed the female driver to proceed home rather than going to the police station. Let me read that back. That's what the police saying. He instructed, in other words, Azadin instructed the female driver of PAB 3000, who is said to be his sister, to drive home. Don't go to the police station. Correct. That is correct. Drive home, don't go to no police station. What are you going to the police station for? You don't want to arrest you, they must arrest you. But drive to the station. What does that mean? Right? So he's correct in telling her, don't go to no police station, drive and go home. Right? Then they said the driver complied with those instructions, so she drive and she go home and drove the vehicle to Republic Park, East Bank, Demerara, where she parked it. That correct action. Then here what they go on to say, Inspector Jagnon and the police and his team followed the vehicle and attempted to immobilize it. By what means? They follow a vehicle with a woman and children, and they say they attempted to immobilize the vehicle. They attempted to immobilize the vehicle. What did they do? What means? How they try to shoot out the wheel? They try to, if the vehicle parked, they try to put on clamp. What did they do to try to immobilize? These foolish statements they make. And you know, sad Boxing Day, we have a come, but you know, can't leave this to go. And let me continue. They say at this point, a male identifying himself as Maskin Dimitriev of Borough Street presented documents indicating his ownership for the vehicle. At that stage, documents were presented. That is what they said. The police saying that when this woman did not produce the document and thing, she was instructed correctly, in my view, by Azadin Mohammed to drive and go home, which she did. And they followed this vehicle. That's what they say. They attempted to immobilize this vehicle. And then they say, this man, Maxkin, come up, and he presented documents indicating his ownership of the vehicle. So documents are presented to them. Then that air the foolishness. I don't know where you get this from. He was informed of the offenses committed and was invited to Providence Police Station. What offenses? This man, he produced this man is driving his vehicle at no time, you know, according to the police. His sister, who I believe is his wife, driving his vehicle. But he informed the man who produced the documents of the offenses committed. You hear Condell Monte on this good Boxing Day. You hear nonsense what these people saying. So he is invited to he was informed of the offenses committed and was invited to Providence Police Station. Then he should not have gone. He went to the station, and here we say, and here, let me tell you all this. You could come for me. I'm not promoting lawlessness. When I say he should not have gone, there had absolutely no justification for demanding that he go to the station. None. None. Right? Because until this time, they say that he did some egregious act which required his station. And let me tell you all something. In matters like that, they want you to go to the station. You have a right to refuse. If they want, let them arrest you. You must be arrested and taken to the station. You must always remember that. Right? Not what this bully thing. So that bully, the man go to the station. And they said at the station, the driver was processed for prohibition of tinted glass, illegal emergency lights, among other traffic-related offenses. Oh my God. The vehicle was processed for prohibition of tinted glass. I want to know if I in the Twilight Zone, not so long ago, a couple of weeks ago, y'all remember? The Minister of Home Affairs said that they get a waiver or amnesty on this tinted glass thing. Yeah, I remember that when the thing came out that a statement was made that policemen must remove the tint from the vehicle, right? And the policemen started to remove the tint. Then the minister came out and made a statement about this tint regulation that he will go to Parliament before the end of the year to have in place. Minister of Home Affairs, Onij Waljon, on record as saying that they are going to do no enforcement of this tint regulation for the remainder of the year. So here it is now, Christmas Day. They're pulling a vehicle, and part of the thing what they're saying that they're talking about prohibition of tinted glass. Is what really we there, man? What really we there? What really going on in the country that is not a real country? They say that. And then they say also for illegal emergency lights, among other traffic-related offenses. Right? Yes, Muriel, let's say till the 31st of December, inclusive. And then, well, of course, no line passed because they haven't gone to Parliament yet. Nigerian called no Parliament. But the minister had indicated that before the end of the year, the law will be put in place. So now that they haven't had any Parliament since the swearing on the 3rd of November, no line coming. So I don't know what they're doing. These people don't know the ace from the ass. That is what is going on. And it is clear evidence of victimization and targeting the Mohammeds. What else can you, what other conclusion? Look at the number of policemen that were there for what they claim to be a simple traffic violation. 3 vehicles at least with policemen, including inspector of police there. Are you telling me there's not harassment? You telling me that there is not harassment? And then it continues. It says, the vehicle was subsequently impounded illegally. They have absolutely no legal authority to impound the vehicle. Let me show you all some of what the vehicle looked like. I just saw it and I was able to create a slide. Look what the vehicle looked like. This is what the vehicle looked like. Hold on. This is what the vehicle looked like yesterday. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever it has up here and so on the number. So I guess is that what they're going to deal? They're going to charge them for having those things on the vehicle? They're going to charge them for having those things on the vehicle? Huh? And then hear this one. Hear this one. It goes on to say, the vehicle was subsequently impounded. They have absolutely no authority, no legal authority to impound the vehicle for the reasons that they advance. Tint, illegal lights, and so on. I explained it before on this program, and I'll do so again for emphasis. In such a case, what the police can do, the law allows them to do, is to revoke, as licensing and certifying officer, to revoke the fitness of the motor vehicle if it is not in compliance. You revoke the fitness. Now, once the fitness is revoked, then the vehicle can't drive. Right? So they can't say we're going to carry it and park. They have to get a tow truck to move it from the police station to take it wherever they want to take it. And then normally, if you revoke the fitness, they have a time because the defects are going to be pointed out on the defect sheet to put it in order and then go back, forget your fitness of the vehicle. So they have no legal authority to tell you impound the vehicle for tinted glass and illegal lights and all that thing. I'm talking about emergency light. Look how many vehicles driving around the place with emergency lights that they call in red and also the color light. And the law allows for emergency vehicles alone to have emergency warning appliances and lights. So, and emergency vehicles are police vehicles, right? Fire service vehicles and ambulances, nothing else. You see ministers and all them driving around, all them PPP aligned businessmen are driving around with fancy light and siren and all. No, I don't stop them. And you want to tell me this is not harassment? And then here the kicker. Here the kicker. They said the vehicle was subsequently impounded for the engine and chassis for engine and chassis verification by the licensed and certifying officer of the Ghana Revenue Authority. That is a force that I know of in the history of the Ghana Police Force, or at least the recent history. And I talk recent being I associated with the post since in the early 70s. That you got impound the vehicle for chassis verification, engine and chassis verification. Harassment. And let me say this. Yeah, Rhonda, that should carry the same energy on the highway where people dying. You get all them police on the East Bank at Eccles dealing with this matter. I count at least 6, 7 of them dealing with a matter like this. They should have never been dealing with that. People dying on the highway. They ain't got time with that. They don't have time with that. And let me say this. I hope the Mohammeds are supposed to go back Monday. They said they got to go back to the station. Man, at least the owner of the vehicle, the man who claimed to be the owner of the vehicle, has to go back on Monday. I hope that by Monday too, you would have consulted your lawyer and bring a lawsuit against the police. Because one, they stop you illegally, right? And it is clear. I don't have time. I don't got you with here now, but only not so long ago I told you all of let me pull it up. Remember, we had gone through this before, right? That the police have no authority. Hold on, let me read exactly what they think. I want to say the wrong thing, and then they're gonna jump up and they're gonna say slow, misleading people, right? Hold on, I'll get it somewhere. I had it just now. Hold on, y'all bear with me. Oh, here it is. This is a newspaper article of July the 20th, 2024 in Kaicho News. Know the law. Police cannot stop search vehicle without reasonable suspicion. That's what attorney at law, Chevy Devonish, presenting a lecture to them, told them. Can't stop. So the mere fact that they came out there and stopped the vehicle, what is the reason for stopping the vehicle? What gave rise to the suspicion? The suspicion has to be before the stop is made. So you can't suspect that the person didn't get a driver's license or they don't get documents. You can't suspect that because the suspicion must be there before. Is the suspicion will give you the authority to stop the vehicle, right? And when you stop the vehicle, you have to tell the people the reason for the stop. This is what you did, right? This is what you did. And once you tell them what they did, then you indicate what action is to be taken. And you have no authority. Y'all understand this thing clearly. It happens too often. Drive to the police station. Drive to no police station. If they want to proceed, as CC said, you get a ticket. Or they ask for your driver's license. And you have a legal responsibility to present your driver's license. Police can't keep it. Should not keep your drive. You present it to them and understand this thing clearly. So you say, well, I just show. No. You have to hand your driver's license to the police to them to examine it. They then get an opportunity. Back in the day, in your pocketbook, you write down the name and the address of the driver. And you warn, depending on the nature of the offense, you warn them you're going to proceed by way of summons. Because many of these things are not arrestable offenses where you can arrest a person. Because as Mr. Devonish said in this presentation, for the time you pull over, let me tell you, he said, unfortunately, we have had the experience and circumstances where we lost cases, particularly because the person's police ranks who were in a position to enforce the law did not know the law and therefore exercised powers that they did not have. That's what he said. He goes on to say, he recounted his experience with police rank that stopped him during an operation without indication any reason. I want to say, first and foremost, there is no traffic rank who should be on the road engaging in stop, search, and seizure of a police vehicle if they have not at least seen Section 18 of the Police Act. The definition explained that Section 18 of the Police Act states that any member of the force may stop, search, and detain any aircraft, vessel, or vehicle which there shall be reason to suspect anything stolen or unlawfully obtained, or that any person suspected of having committed an indictable offense may be found. Further, a member of the force may stop, search, and detain any person who may be reasonably suspected of having or conveying in any manner anything stolen or unlawfully obtained. Devonish said, on one of the occasions he was stopped by the police, he asked the officer about the operation, to which the rank reportedly said, is a police, don't question the police. That's the attitude. This is the lawyer who is working, at least at that time, he used to work in the AG chambers. He ain't got no reason for lie on them, right? He said, they tell you what, is a police, is a police. I is a police. Don't question the police. The attorney said that while the law allows for the stopping and searching of a vehicle, aircraft or vessel, it is mandatory for the rank to state the reason or reasons for the suspicion. It is mandatory. That is what he says. Definition hypothetically said, if I'm driving down the road with a black vehicle and you have what is referred to as an operation going on, random stops and search, and a police officer stopped me and asked me to search the vehicle because it's just an event they are having. I think a campaign. They just want to search my vehicle. What is the basis for that search? Is there a basis? Is there a suspicion? Is there anywhere? No. Then he goes on to say, what happens? The person is arrested and they are charged and they go to the magistrate court and the matter is dismissed. Why it is dismissed? Because you, the rank, had no lawful authority to stop the person, which means that you had no lawful authority to arrest the person, which means you had no lawful authority to detain the person. He said, he goes on, they sue us, the police, for unlawful arrest. They sue us for unlawful detention. They sue us for malicious prosecution. They sue us for violating their fundamental rights. And they get a nice 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. That's what Devon said. The attorney said that over time, the police have grown accustomed to telling persons to drive to the police station. You can arrest with words alone. Drive to the station, stay in the corner. And while you're in the corner, the police gone back on the road and you are there, they stop other vehicles, and this man is there for 15, 20 minutes. That is detention. And what happens? The matter goes to court. We, the police, get lawsuit, or the person doesn't listen, and you charge them for resisting arrest, disorderly behavior, but they all fail or obstructing a police officer in the lawful execution of his duty. But it was not lawful because you, the police, did not have reasonable suspicion that that is a condition, Devon said. Yeah, long read, boy, understand this thing. So the fact that they pulled her over and kept her there, right, for that time, amongst the detention, and let me tell you all this. I don't care if they're vexed with me, I'm going to say it. Once you find yourself in such a situation, you must ask them, can I leave? Officer, why have you stopped me? They aren't telling you why you stopped me. All right, officer, I am leaving. Let them tell you can't leave. You're strengthening your case. You are strengthening your case when you go to the court to get damages against the state. We got to say it. It's we got to pay, no? But it's time this nonsense stop. It is time. Because I would have thought, given this lecture by Attorney Devonish and the ruling before by the former, the retired judge, now deceased, William Ramlal, in the case that was brought by Navendra Singh, who is now the acting Chief Justice. Same thing, police stopped Arasi and took him to the thing. The man went to court. And Justice Ramlal ruled, told them exactly Section 18 of the Police Act, which deals with stop, search, and detain. And they were wrong all over. And one would have thought that this would have been mandatory training for all police, all. The same thing, again, the Chief Justice acting, Madam Raksam Judge, in the case with Ramana, arresting Tamika Clark, who was then the lawyer and is now a magistrate. The Chief Justice made the point and ordered them to have this training at all levels. And then Brutus, who was the man at admin, responded. It's basically said, well, we're doing that all the time. But since you're shocked that we will do it, we can do it. What has happened with that? What has happened? You see, that's the problem you have. The court made a ruling, right? The Chief Justice made a ruling when she examined the facts of the case where Ramana arrested a lawyer because she advised her client not to sign a statement or not to give a statement to the police. He arrested her, right? He arrested her. They sued, they went to court. The Chief Justice made ruling against the police in that matter and instructed that training, I think Constitution, certain articles of the Constitution, the Chief Justice instructed, must be taught at all levels. What has happened? Nothing. And that is a problem. A ruling is made, right? what type of mechanism is there to ensure that the ruling was followed. If you had a competent commissioner of police and a competent attorney general and a competent government, they will insist and ensure that the ruling of the Chief Justice is followed to the T. That is the rule of law, right? But they just respond and say, well, we're doing this before, but as you asked or as you instructed for it to be done, we can do that. Nothing has happened since then. Nothing. They just fall by the wayside. That is part of the problem that you have. But I've said, I know the Mohammed with all the legal battles and so on, this is one that you must take on to. Take the government to court for what happened yesterday, right? You have a strong case. Take them on. Let me get this case. Let me get these matters ventilated in court and let the court pronounce on the lawfulness or otherwise of the action of the police. And here, let me tell you all this before I bring back in CC to the thing. It's important we talk about this matter because civilians and members of the public are being victimized and harassed. Well, the Mohammed is for political reasons, but many others are harassed all because they are seen as vulnerable and police come and bully them to do all this type of thing, right? Police come and police bully them. They say the vehicle is lodged to be examined by a licensed and certified officer. Well, except from the GRA. The man whose name is listed there, Inspector Jagmohan, his name, or Jagnanan, whatever his name, right? Inspector Jagnanan. He is a licensed and certified officer. He is a licensed and certified officer. So why he did not examine the vehicle? But that is the instruction they get. That keep the vehicle there, impound the vehicle to inconvenience people. Right? That is what. But let me tell you what the crystal ball say. Remember, I think the same vehicle some weeks or months ago, immediately following the statement by the Vice President Jagyu, where he said that he only can personally accountable for the fact that Azadin Mohammed drove into the Arthur Chung Convention Center in a Lamborghini, right? That wasn't insured. He said that he only can personally responsible. And a day or two after, I think it's the same vehicle or another vehicle belonging to the Mohammed, right, was pulled in at CID headquarters. And they charged him for not having insurance and all that. They did the same thing. They kept the vehicle there unlawfully. And you can't allow these things to slide. So I got a strong suspicion, and that is my view, that what happened, they saw the vehicle distributing ties around the place and having breakfast, and they know that they got to pass right there at Eccles to go home. So they sent out the police to waylay them. That is what happened. That is my view. That they saw the time of no exercise. They saw the vehicle because according to what the woman is saying there, they went West Demerara, they went Albaistong, they went the sharing ties, they had breakfast and all that. They saw the vehicle. And instruction was passed down. I know from what level they are claiming the president. That is what they said, the president. But instruction passed down for them to pull the vehicle in. Right? Instructions were passed for them to pull the vehicle. And knowing the geography, they go and they stop at Eccles, because if they're going in the area, they got to pass Eccles. There's no other place for them to go. So they pass there and they pull the vehicle in. That is the sad state of affairs in Guyana. And let me say, I think I've covered this. I covered this. But you know, next thing, I imagine children in the vehicle. Children. And they're up on the phone. So then he tell them, say, all right, let me drop home the children. Because that was one of the requests. Let me drop the children home. People are cooperating. Let me drop the children home. So they allow them to drop the children and then go to the station. They should have never gone back to the station. Never gone back. Police must come. They must tell you exactly what offense committed. Why do you want the vehicle to go to the station? They have to tell you. If they tell you that, you ain't going to no police station. So let me understand. Let me understand. Yeah, now, Joe, you know, me, crystal ball, and the wrong line. They saw the vehicle wrong. Big ones saw the vehicle. Distributing ties and all that. They saw this vehicle PAB 3000 and they call, hey, as they in the vehicle up on the road, right? They're up on the road. Y'all go and pull it in. So the inspector got there. I almost said poor inspector, but he got there. And a CC said, unlawful order, you can't be compelled to carry out an unlawful order. You can't be, well, of course, there might be a little vindictiveness too, because last year, Christmas, I think the year before, Christmas, I think the year before the last year before, Christmas Day or the Christmas Eve Day, all the police line up in Lamar Street by the Mohammed's Enterprise, they forget, well, I say all, many police were lined up there, forget a freak. But this time around, they ain't got no freak, right? They ain't got no freak to get, right? They ain't got no freak. So that is what you have. CC, do you want to say anything more on this matter before we move on? Time really running, buddy. Anything more you want to say?
Yeah, time is running, but the thing is that it is well established that special branch monitoring the Mohammed family, and they know where they're there. They know where they're there. So instructions are to pass down for unlawful action to be taken. But important point, is where we talk, we have to get reasonable suspicion. Did they have a reason before they stopped the vehicle? Did they have a reasonable suspicion that something is irregular with the chassis before they stopped that vehicle? Did they had a reasonable suspicion that they could hold it and park it, and then I have to check with somebody with GRA on it? And then talking about why they don't go up on the East Coast and see some vehicle, see some vehicle and check with the chassis number. I wonder why they don't go up on the East Coast and do the, and check some chassis number for certain vehicles, The whole thing is that instructions, political instructions passed down, and the police who perhaps feel victimization. Remember one, the Sheikh Azuddin Mohammedan, and he get transferred from Region 1 to Region 6, Molson Creek. So some of them police, they are scared. They're not strong enough to stand up or say, no, sir, I ain't see no offense commit. Me ain't see no offense commit, and these people don't do nothing. And then even in the police reports, they're so vague. They mention other related traffic offenses. What are other related traffic offenses? And I told him of the offense. What offense you tell you, So the whole thing is a mockery. The whole thing is a big joke. And all because they want to get at the Mohammed. If you want to get to Mohammed, go legally. If they commit themselves, go legally. Now you seize the vehicle, we check the chassis, and you gotta get somebody from GRA. I say, go up on the East Coast. You get enough for the, So the whole thing is that breach of the Constitution, breach of the Police Act, and all in the interest of really harassing the Mohammeds.
Yeah, but you can backfire, because all they're doing is they're making people see exactly what the motive is or what the motives are. That's harass. Right? Because Christmas Day, the people distributing things, if they break the law, they break the law. Deal with them. You got to get ticket. You got to summon them for them to go to court. Do that. We're not defending any illegal act. But them vague thing, you come, you're stopping them, you set up, and then all that number of police who said they're going to get this vehicle. Those are instructions that would have come down, right? Instructions that would have come down. I know from far up, but the people on the ground that would have gotten instructions, right? Now let me move on to the next matter. We reported here, I think it was Monday it was, about the death of this youngster Fraser, shot and killed in Sophia. Remember we reported that, and let me play the news item. And I want y'all to listen to this news item very, very carefully as to hear what went on. Here we go.
A 27-year-old father of two was shot dead and another man was seriously injured during a shooting late Sunday night at Mercy Wing, Plum Park, Sophia, police and family members said. The dead man has been identified as Chevy Fraser of Plum Park, who sustained multiple gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead after being rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital. When this newscast visited his mother's home Monday morning, relatives gathered in disbelief, struggling to come to terms with the killing. His mother, Thelma Butters, said a friend came to the house to inform the family that Fraser had been shot.
Well, I was sleeping and then I heard a call inside like 10:15. And when I look out, my son friend say, Chauffeur get shot. And I saw my son on his knee saying, Ma. And the guy took him to the hospital. When I reached the hospital now, the guy told me that he was taking my son to buy a gun. And he got shot. This as much as I know. I don't believe that my son was going to buy a gun, but I believe that my son was set up and get shot. Because the young man in question is responsible for Quindon Bacchus' murder too.
Butters said she's not buying the story since her son had no need for a gun. She noted that Fraser owned a car and worked alongside her on government contracts.
From time to time, I would get contracts. Also, Chauffeur would get a drainage contract, and he would work along with me.
So you had no need to do
no illegal, no nothing. His mother would support him, his father would support him, and family, and the contracts. Also, he got his car that he would do taxi from time to time.
Residents in the area reported hearing a series of rapid gunshots before seeing the wounded man being placed into a car and rushed to the hospital.
They called me sleeping and the gunshot wake me out. I see the first shot. And a little bit after you hear a 3-4 more shots. That is all me know. And then we see people come and pick you up and carry you.
Yeah, I hear one shot and I peep out my head. And then I see the car stop in front. The car stop in front by the grassy so. I see two men jump out the car and start running kind over the bridge. And then I hear a set of shots firing. And then the car drive away and then it come back. And then they come and lift up the man with a shoot and put in the car. And they hollering, hold up here.
Family members later returned to the scene of the shooting, questioning what may have led to the attack. Fraser's father, Niall Fraser, a principal of the East Coast Demerara-based television station, HGP-TV, which produces nightly news, described his son's death as a devastating and painful blow to the family.
Well, it mashed up the family, you understand? Because nobody can expect to get a news like this. We all planning for my niece's 40th birthday in September. And we were talking a few weeks ago, somewhere in the island we maybe go and celebrate this birthday because that's what she wanted to do it. So they would have their own family group and stuff where they would discuss, from what they want to do, when they would do it and stuff. And when his cousins get this news, everybody went to a state of shock. Right. I mean, since this thing happened last night, my pressure went right up. I ain't even sleep up there now. Can't sleep, I can't eat. And then the friend that took him to the hospital, when he started to tell me some stories, I said, Matson. And then when Chauffeur's sister went to him, called him by his name, and said, brother, tell me the truth. Tell me what happened. He went on his knees and he started hollering in the hospital. Oh, Jah, oh, Lord. But for me, I say like just when you realize what really take place.
Meanwhile, the police are reporting that a 19-year-old male, also of Plum Park, who sustained gunshot injuries, was admitted to the Georgetown Public Hospital and remains in a stable condition. Investigators returned to the scene Monday morning and are reviewing government CCTV footage and collecting additional evidence as they search for the suspect or suspects responsible for the shooting. Fraser's body remains at the hospital mortuary, where post-mortem examination is to be conducted as the investigation continues.
I understand the post-mortem examination was conducted. Cause of death, gunshot wound, some shot his head, killed him. We haven't heard anything further from the police, whether they arrest anyone Or the important thing with the matters like this, you got to know what is the motive. And striking, what struck me is the mother claiming that somebody who was involved, I think that is what she said, that is the word she used, in the Quindon Bacchus murder name calling. Someone who was involved in Quindon Bacchus, you know, Quindon Bacchus, the boy who was shot and killed on the East Coast in June 10th, I think, 2022. The policeman who was charged for his murder, Christophe de Naberger, recently got off at the High Court. Others who were charged in related matters also get off. But the mother is saying that the man who involved in Quindon Bacchus murder, name calling in this too. And if you recall to the Quindon Bacchus case, they say it was a case where the police, some undercover special branch ranks, were purported to be selling illegal firearm to this man, Quindon Bacchus. Oh, no, he was buying, sorry. Quindon Bacchus was supposed to sell the police an illegal firearm. Let me get it right. And when they turned up, it was a sting operation. Special branch rank, shot and killed. Now with this Fraser killing again, it has been said something to do with them gun. They're saying this Fraser boy was going to buy some gun. It is curiouser and curiouser. Let me follow watch the ride to see where this will go. Watch to see where this will go. I don't know if CC want to say anything about this. I think we get time for one more item, and then we're going to move on. CC, anything you want to say about this?
Very interesting, as you mentioned. Was the man said the Matson.
Yeah, the Matson, like he said, the Matson. I know the father, Niall, who was speaking there, as if you say, he's a principal at the HGP television news at BV, my countryman, right? Fraser. For those of you who don't know, back Terry Nelson's son. Terry Nelson was Fraser, the man from Alagana, the man from Afar. I think at that one, they have walked in there. That's where the TV station is. So it's Niall's son that was killed. So let me see where that will go. I hope the police investigate and are able to find the culprit or culprits in this matter. I'm talking about guns, you know. I saw there was a matter recently there, I think we're going to end with this one, where a Bladenal businessman was placed on $500,000 bail on gun charges. A Bladenal businessman was granted bail in the sum of $500,000 yesterday. That's on the Christmas Eve day, when he appeared before the acting chief magistrate of the Georgetown Magistrate Court, charged with possession of arms and ammunition, and a firearm without license. Amar Prasad, 37, pleaded not guilty. The charges allege that on the 21st of December 2025 at Sheriff Street, Kitty, Georgetown, Prasad had in his possession 19.7.62 by 39 millimeter ammunition, one black AK-47, and one Taurus pistol without being the owner of a legal firearm license. Well, the AK attack is AK assault rifle. It's a black AK, but it's an assault rifle. And again, according to Kanu, Prasad was arrested and later handed over to the police. Meanwhile, attorney at law Sayan Dujan, who represented Prasad, claimed that his client was set up by Kanu and also alleged that he was robbed by the ranks. Here, what is the allegation? Here, what is the allegation? It goes on to say, according to his submission, that is the lawyer's submission, which he chronicled in a release following the matter, Kanu set up Prasad using an individual who had befriended Prasad 2 weeks prior. The individual, the lawyer said, directed Prasad to park at a specific location on Sheriff Street and met Prasad there under the pretense of purchasing and selling phones to him. Dujan stated that Prasad is a businessman who conducts the purchase and sale of cell phones. The lawyer further submitted, according to the release, that prior to entering Prasad's car, the individual threw a bag in the back seat. It was stated that Prasad reasonably presumed that the bag contained only cellular phones. Dujan contended that Prasad had no opportunity to access or inspect the contents of the bag, as less than 4 minutes later, officers of Kanu arrived and blocked Prasad's car. The officers then dragged Prasad out of the car and pushed his face into the road, he added. The lawyer also alleged that the ranks demonstrated great familiarity with the individual and did not arrest him but interacted with him before he disappeared from Prasad's view. His client accused 2 Kanu ranks of stealing $1.1 million from his car, as well as 4 brand new iPhone Pro Max phone in sealed boxes, according to the lawyer. The ranks then placed the remaining quantity of phone, i17 Pro Max phone, into lawful custody, but kept the rest of in their pocket and on their persons, even though Prasad protested. The lawyer said that minutes prior in court, during the bail hearing, the prosecutor specifically mentioned that only Prasad was in the car at the time of the interception. Dujan said he remarked that such particular care was taken to mention that in the case file only because it was not true, and it was not true as the material time prior to Prasad's arrest. The individual mentioned was in the front seat of the car. In court, according to the release, Dujan requested the body camera footage of the incident and declared that it was most improbable that it would be brought owing to the irregularities of the Kanu operation. He said his client has 3 small children, 1, 2, and 5 years old, and was supported in court by the presence of his family who were in tears. Dujan also submitted that there was a material defect in the charge and that it deprived Prasad of taking certain steps which lawfully ought to have been taken. According to the release, the magistrate then advised the prosecutor to seek the advice of the director of the public prosecution on that aspect of the charge. Apart from the bail, Prasad is also required to report to the Kitty police station at regular intervals until the determination of the criminal charge against him. Now, when I read this article before, this is yesterday, what I just read yesterday, Stabrook News. Because the release that was given earlier said this businessman got found with 3 firearms, AK-47 rifle, I think a Glock 90, a Glock 17 pistol, and another 9mm pistol. But strangely, at least it was strange to me, they said that he is licensed to carry the Glock 17. Of course, they had ammunition as well. And therefore, I asked right off, it occurred to me, if this man is licensed to carry a 9mm pistol, why is he in possession of an assault rifle and another 9mm pistol? It seems strange to me. It seems strange to me. But now you hear the lawyer saying, it's set up, the man gets set up. It's set up. That is what the lawyer is claiming, that the man set up. But lawyers will say things to get out the client and so on. I guess that is part of the thing. But when you look at it logically, this man is a licensed owner of that's what the police say. He's a licensed owner of a Glock 17 pistol. And when they found him on this day, they say he had the pistol that he's licensed to carry. In addition to that, he had an assault rifle, AK-47 assault rifle, and another 9mm pistol. Something wrong. Is that he's a gun dealer? And then listen to this carefully too, You know who made the arrest? Kanu, Custom Anti-Narcotics Unit. Custom Anti-Narcotics Unit made the arrest. So therefore, is the man suspected or is he known to be a drug dealer? Is he known to be a drug dealer? These are questions that have to be asked. Why would a licensed firearm owner be in possession of an assault rifle? Because they say he owns a cell phone shop. If he's a cell phone, if he buys and sells cell phone, why is he in possession of an assault rifle and another pistol other than the one that he's licensed to carry? Strange. We wait to hear what thing. And then before I bring in CC for us to close on this, then we got 2 other things to say. What happened to this smart system thing where they talk about, huh? They just boast about all these cameras and all this everything when they get. Wait, there's not a camera to show exactly what took place at this place, whether in fact what the man is saying is true. Is there, do they have camera footage? Because one gets the impression where this thing happened in Sheriff Street, busy place, so you're going to get camera to show that this other man, as a liar claimed, was in the car at the time. And if the other man was in the car at the time, why was he not arrested? Right? And then they talk about the familiarity between Kanu ranks and this man who they say used to set up this man. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. Right? Something ain't right. Well, we just come and analyze these statements and find something wrong. And we will keep our ears out on this, ears and eyes out for this. Let me bring in CC to obviously on this, and then we're gonna move to our closing part. CC, as I said, when I heard that this man is a licensed firearm holder, and they found him with AK-47 and another pistol, so it's 3 guns he had there. I said something wrong. What are your views, my brother?
Like you, it doesn't sound right to me, A licensed firearm holder and then 2 other weapons there, And as you had indicated, what happened when Eye in the Sky? What happened to Safe City? The cameras that the president said will replace boots on the ground. What happened with all the Christmas policing arrangements? You really get drones and all kind of equipment, What happened to those things? And there are too many suspicious or questionable operations being conducted by Kanu. Too many questionable operations by Kanu. Something in some right with Kanu. Things ain't going right. Remember, I think it was Dataram made some skating comments about Kanu, So to me, must be something deeper than what is on the surface, and they need to look at it. Something not right with Kanu, and we're talking about all the cameras over the place, Eye in the Sky, drones, things like the Safe City apparatus that will release, that will replace boots on the ground, the body cameras, and other things, something in meshing, something in coordinating as they are to.
Yeah, my brother. As we close, let me. I'm a CC. Let me invite you now to give your closing, and I am going to wrap up. And this Boxing Day, we didn't really intend to have all of these serious issues, but you can't allow them to reflect to slide by. We can't allow. We got to bring these things to attention. So CC, your closing, please.
All right. In closing, I want to comment on a police release. It's a Commander Region 8 hosted breakfast for ranks. I read, Senior Superintendent R. Stanley, Commander Region 8, hosted a Christmas breakfast for ranks at Marja Police Station, along with Deputy Commander Superintendent E. Davidson. Same comments with a prayer by E. Davidson. The activity was held in the spirit of Christmas season and formed part of our effort to promote unity, morale, camaraderie among the ranks. And hear this. During the engagement, the commander extended Christmas greetings and expressed appreciation to the ranks for their continued dedication, professionalism, commitment to duty throughout the year, particularly in maintaining law and order within the division. The ranks were encouraged to continue working collaboratively to hold the values and standard of the Guyana Police Force, and it went on. But this party, during the engagement, The commander extended Christmas greetings and expressed appreciation to the ranks for their continued dedication, professionalism, commitment to duty through the year, particularly maintaining law and order within the division. This statement is complete fabrication and total distortion of fact. The commander wasn't there. The commander was in Georgetown attending meeting, and the thing was done by his deputy Davidson. The commander was nowhere there. He didn't speak to the ranks. He didn't express any appreciation, nothing. But there's a police report. That's why we don't have confidence in the police. And then when you go back to this commander, I always go back to him. He was second in charge of Barbies. He was a superintendent. And they are alleging that one night after bar happened, he was driving his vehicle and he was involved in an accident with a motorcyclist. The motorcyclist died on the spot. And in labor time, within days, they transferred that commander from Boris Region 6 to Region 8. And they put him there as commander. Here's it, a fatal accident involving him, transferred to Region 8 as commander, and next thing, the Unlawful Police Service Commission promoted him to senior soup. Now here's this report now that he addressed ranks at the Christmas breakfast and praised them, blah, 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 blah. It never happened. He was not there. And I want them to contradict me. And let me close by wishing all our viewers or listeners or followers a very peaceful weekend. I think by now people might be toning down, after the Christmas season and all kind of thing there, and maybe looking forward for the new year.
Well, today is only the second day, really. Yesterday is Christmas, today is Boxing Day. Boxing Day on Friday, toning down. Now the thing warming up, man. They get all day tomorrow. Them sporting people tomorrow and Sunday. But let me tell you this. The couple of days between Boxing Day and the end of the year, nobody don't do enough work, looking forward to Holy Year's Day and things coming up there. Nobody don't think it does go capture the movement and so on. Yeah. Let me say this. When you get bullies, you get bully and then you get bully. So, Maduro from Venezuela, bully Guyana. So, Essequibo belongs to Venezuela. All sort of statement, the whole election, they do all kind of thing. Now Essequibo is theirs, all sort of threats and all sort of thing. Now that you get problem with the Trump administration, is ambassador to the UN. Let me hear what the man said at the UN. This is the Venezuelan ambassador. You can't make these things up. Hear what he's reported here to have said. We are in the presence of a power that acts outside of international law, demanding that Venezuela vacate our country and hand it over. This is the greatest extortion known in our history. This is the Venezuelan ambassador to the United Nations. Let me read that back, man. This is the same Venezuela who bully in Guyana, annexing Essequibo. You draw the map for sure. Essequibo is part of them, Venezuela. The whole election, elect a governor for our Essequibo. They're supposed to give out, all people living in Essequibo are supposed to get Venezuelan identification card. And now that the U.S. got the embargo on preventing, according to U.S. sanctions ships or vessels from Tingan Island, Swan, called U.S. sees 2 oil tankers. And they get the chasing one for a week now. I heard on the news today. They're chasing the next one for a week to board it and to take it over. But the Venezuelan ambassador to the United Nations during this week, complaining at the UN, he says, we are in the presence of a power that acts outside of international law, demanding that Venezuelans vacate our country and hand it over. This is the greatest extortion known in our history. This is a this is the people who say they border issue with Venezuela before the international court. And they have indicated time and time again that they have no intention of respecting whatever decision the court hands down, because they know from all the evidence the court is likely to rule in favor of Guyana. They already said they ain't going to accept the coup, but they're going now to the same UN, and the man get the audacity to tell the UN that we are in the presence of a power. Is the US referring to? That acts outside of international law. What international law the Venezuelans know about, the Venezuelan government? They have said they are in respect when it comes to the Guyana sovereignty and executable. So you're going now to the UN and you're balling? You're balling now at the UN? I can't say what I really want to tell you, but you can go and shove it, right? Bully, now you come up against the power, a superpower. You're balling and you're alling. You're going to the United Nations, right? So I really wanted to make sure that I mentioned that this afternoon. And then I saw breaking news, some decomposed body found in the La Panther Cemetery. It's all sort of tragedy in Guyana. All kind of thing, man. So we hope for this weekend, because we still get tonight, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Comrade, enjoy yourself. You have to enjoy with moderation. Do like me. I drink a little ginger beer. You know, it's like Christmas comes but once a year. You know, you all know the thing, them young people can know that. Christmas comes but once a year, but every man was have the share. But poor brother really in the jail, drinking sour ginger beer. Music, counterband, man. I grew up in the country, I know them thing good, you know. That's the masquerade band. Now you get masquerade bands. Them man don't dance, nothing at all they come and they want money. Masquerade is about dancing. You got to know the masquerade moves, right? And then they bump on the kettle and five. They ting, then he stop. Butter, stop there, then he start, then he gonna give the thing. Ting, the steel, boom, boom, the best, the hero champion in the field. The hero champion, 9 and 10, Santa Pete champion is my dear. Music! I know the thing good, you know. Yeah, but look, these are things I know Alan Fenty, gone away. These are things that Alan Fenty and them folklorists used to come and remind us about. Used to look forward, not to the masquerade band in itself, in and of itself, but it's when they get a pause, right? When they get a pause, and they means ring out the rhythm there. I can't remember all of them now, but that is the sweet part, man. That is the sweet part, right? Sweet part. Christmas comes but once a year. that was a nice one. You used to remember. Nice one. So, folks, as we continue during this festive season, I urge you all to be safe. I urge you to enjoy with moderation, right? Because I got to enjoy, you know, I tell you Christmas, I drink with ginger beer. I ain't drink nothing strong today because I got to go and drive, and I don't drink and drive with my ginger beer. I drink my little ginger beer, and perhaps later, if I don't have to go on the road, I'll take a little toops, right? Enjoy the holidays. Remember the reason for the season. It is about the birth of the Christ child. Goodwill on earth, peace on earth, and goodwill towards men, and all of that. We must remember that. Right? We must remember. But the police apparently, they remember what was yesterday, Christmas Day, they're taking illegal out of a seized vehicle and all sort of thing. We're talking about seizing vehicle. We have so many other things to talk about. But when we come again, God's Spirit Life, we're going to come on Monday. And we're going to update you with many other developments. There are so many developments over the past couple of days. And I'm confident, I'm sure that between now and Monday when we come again, we're going to have more developments to bring to your attention. So, yes, folks, enjoy your weekend. As I said, sport, enjoy yourself in moderation. Those of you who have to drive, be extremely, extremely careful on the road. And be careful generally. Be careful and be safe generally. So until we meet on Monday, God's Spirit Life, take care. Bye.